Kyle, what was I mean, look, we were saying it early, and your recap is up at allphly.com, and everybody can go check it out. The good, bad, and the ugly from tonight's game. But we were saying in the first quarter, as it was getting underway, oh, this one is going to be over quickly because this one has gotten away from these guys pretty fast. So, what was the sentiment from Nick Nurse in the post game of what he was trying to do, what he couldn't get done, and why this one got away so quickly?
I think it was probably best summed up by him saying, well, they just dribbled right through us, basically. Like that, the assessment was there was no pressure on the ball, no resistance. And I think that's probably what we all saw, right? Was the most damning thing about that defensive performance was they didn't really have to go into second actions. It was a lot of one screen, guy drives, and either that guy is scoring at the rim, scoring on an open jumper against drop coverage, or the roller, in many cases, Zubats, is scoring around the basket. It just was, I think even when they've been bad this year, some of the games have been like, well, at least the requisite effort was there. This was not that, right? Like I think this one was just bad from the start, very dispiriting performance, and hashtag disgrace for ace, hashtag failing for flag, whatever you want to throw up there. But that's what that looks like. So, I mean, get well soon to the other guys if you still care about this season, because woof.
Poop for Coop or something like that. We got to workshop some of those. Kyle, what did Nurse? I don't know who you talked to after the game, but what did Nurse or McCain? What did they say about McCain's game? I guess just because this was a learning experience for him, right? Chris Dunn, Derek Jones. I know Harden was on him for a little bit, but that defense has been playing really well. That Clippers defense, and for the first time in 2 weeks, Jared struggled. So, and that's something that I think Devon and I have been talking about. That's a learning experience from him. But is that kind of how the Sixers viewed that game?
So there was a little bit of that for sure, where it was like, it's one of those nights. Like he's been shooting so well, you're going to run into these. He also made note though, if they felt that they ran sort of like their version of a QB spy on defense, where whenever one of their guards was able to create some penetration, there was always somebody lurking in that in-between area. Often it was Chris Dunn, who, by the way, I mean, what a defensive effort from that guy tonight. And I know he's had a really good defensive season overall. Like they've been a pretty surprisingly great defensive team given the personnel, but it felt like he was 2 and 3 men on any given possession. Like you couldn't even throw the ball in his direction. So, hats off to him. But yeah, I mean, when and this is more what I think rather than Nurse, I just think so many of these actions that they're running are just like you clear out one side and it's a dribble handoff, and the other 3 guys are not involved in the play, nor frankly are they really spacing all that well either. Like, and that's one thing when it's Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey running a DHO or a pick and roll, and the rest of the guys can kind of just hunker down in spots and wait for their opportunities. But when you're running like McCain and Yabu, and the other 3 guys are not setting screens, they're not spacing properly, they're not making cuts like that, you're just not going to create a lot of successful offensive possessions right now. So I think there's, some of it is, what the limitations are of Maxey and McCain as ball handlers and creators. But there's stuff right now that is just like the very bland, vanilla, schematic stuff on offense that I know that's what Nurse wants to run. It's what he's pretty much always run, and just say, move the ball, share the ball, get through your stuff. But they badly need some second side actions and some additional stuff right now.
As you pointed out in your piece too, Nurse has this rep as a defensive coach now, but when he entered the league and the way he got the job as an assistant in Toronto initially was he was the Houston G League coach, and it was because of his offense. And it just feels like, where is the creativity? He believes in such simple stuff. I'll give you one example too, Kyle. Like, does he like off-ball actions? I know even the stuff last year that worked, it was a lot of DHO with Embiid and Maxey. Like, you have a guy in Jared McCain who's a pretty crazy shooter and a pretty versatile shooter. Like, how about you run him off a couple pin downs or something like that? There's none of that going on right now.
The one that I've been thinking about as people have started drawing the Steph Curry comparisons for McCain is like, okay, well, if he has that kind of game and you want to use him as this movement and relocation shooter, how about an elevator doors play every once in a while? Like just something. You don't have to run these things all the time in every play, right? But use it once or twice in a game. It can't just be the same. We dribble up the floor. You get into a dribble handoff. Guy has it at the top of the key. Oh, well, the defense is set and somebody has to beat a guy one-on-one. And even tonight, even on top of that, they're running it tonight at good defenders, right? It's like, hey, we might try to get a switch and Derek Jones Jr. is there. Chris Dunn's there. It's like, that's just a road to nowhere.
And before the game, since we were talking about the other guys not being there, just before you came on, about Paul George and Joel Embiid, what was the update that you got about Paul George, his workout that he had the other day, and his availability of potentially returning?
Yeah, so I would say minimal information beyond Paul George did get on-court work in this weekend, so I would say that's a positive sign that this was not like has to rest and be off of his feet. That suggests to me that I don't know if it'll be Wednesday, but I think within this week, I think that suggests he might be able to play. Much less information on Embiid, where Nurse said he had talked to him earlier today, maybe yesterday, but the update was basically just, swelling had subsided some, but no real indication of whether he's able to get any workouts in or anything like that. So as always with Joel, a ton of clarity on where he's at physically right now.
He was on the bench though tonight versus not being on the bench the other night. So that was good to see.
Yeah.
He was there.
That's a step, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have anything
or a
else.
seat, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
We all silly like the mayor.